Good morning. You're listening to Overcoming Life. I am your host, Opal Bailey. Today is such a fitting day to talk about freedom because as we honor Martin Luther King Jr., we celebrate his endeavor, we celebrate his legacy, we celebrate his stance against injustice, inequality, and segregation issues. And I'm not going to talk about the segregation part. I'm not going to talk about the bitterness of things, but I just want to talk to you today about the benefit of what he accomplished because God used him to show everyone around the world what love and hate, peace and disunity, brotherhood and sisterhood, all these things that can impact our life, not only for that moment, but throughout history. What Martin Luther King Jr. stood for, it carried on throughout history. Over 50 years, it's continuing even today. He believed in standing up for those who have received injustice, who were being mistreated, and whether it was racial, that's majority of it. But you know what? I believe that he not only stood for just people of color, but he stood for people, period, humanity, period. That, hey, the treatment of each one of us, it matters. We can have a life where we can live in love, we can have peace, and we can have brotherhood. And those are the things he really stood for. He wanted us to know, he wanted us to understand how vital it is for us to love one another. But at the same time, he also showed us too that in love and in peace and brotherhood, it was more than just something on the outward. It was more than something in the atmosphere, or it was more than our environment or our community. He was letting us know that, hey, let freedom ring in our hearts. Let freedom ring in our soul. Let freedom ring in treating each person with love, having peace with one another, seeing this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my mom, this is my dad, instead of looking at each person individually and categorizing us. He let us know that, hey, it first comes and it first starts in the heart. Because you know what? Everything that comes out of us is from the heart. Our love is in the heart. Hate is from the heart. Peace is from the heart. Joy is in the heart. Everything comes from and derives from our heart. So if our heart is cold and callous and bitter and hatred and discontent and disunified, guess what? Our life will be that. Our environment will be that. We will live out the very thing that dwells in our hearts. So we can know what kind of person you are just by the condition and the way your heart is. If you're a person that is of love, it's going to show. If you're a person of peace, you're going to be peaceful. God said, blessed are the peacemakers. God said that love overcomes everything. It conquers everything. And so to me, I see Martin Luther King Jr., what he endured, what he taught, what he preached, what he lived, was to say, hey, have love in your heart. Have peace in your heart. See this person not as a color or creed or nationality, but look, this is your brother. This is your sister. Don't treat your sister this way. Don't treat your brother this way. Love one another to the point that it exuberates, it spreads. It's like cancer. It just goes into everybody's life. And can you just imagine living in an environment, living in a community, living in the world where we love one another? Not just speak it, but we actually love ourselves first, because that's where it all begins, with us. Yeah, we love ourselves so much that we love the neighbor. We love the coworker, the boss, the judge, the police officer. We don't have all of this division. And I heard, some people ask, well, do you think that, anything changed and we still have segregation and we still have racial issues? Okay. But do you have racial issues? Do you have segregation? What is it about you that can make the difference, can continue on what he started? It don't stop. It didn't stop. And it don't have to stop with Martin Luther King, because he didn't come to just stop it. He came to let us see the awareness and the effect of division, hatred, of a community, of a nationality. And we can look through history. We can look through all throughout history and see what happened when you have hate of a different race or of a culture, of a city, of a town. We can look at Holocaust. We can look at what Hitler, the hatred for Jews and the hatred for homosexuality and the hatred for gypsies and blacks. You can see, we could go all the way back. Slavery. We could go through history one after another. We can see what hate, how the pain it caused, the division it caused, the separation it caused. But we can also look at those that stood in the place of love, those that stood in the place of hate and said, no, we can love one another. We can empower one another. We can be one another, and to embrace our differences, to embrace our culture, to embrace our nationality. We say that the America, we're in the prime, America is the richest nation, country, state, whatever the case may be. But just think about how rich we really would be if we came together and we became a nation of love. Because love conquers all. Love forgives all. The Bible said love don't even remember wrong. Don't even remember the wrong you do to somebody. That is why some people can sit there and look at their accuser, can sit there and look at their abuser, can sit there and look at someone who just devastated their family and look at them and say, I forgive you, I love you. It's because they have love and they have forgiveness in their heart. And they see the big picture. They don't just see this person and say, okay, I hate them and I wish you dead. And I'm not nullifying the pain is there. The reality of it is there. But at the same time, what would make one person hate even more, but then the same person feeling the same thing, they would choose to love. It's because of a choice. And to me, this is what Martin Luther King Jr. is saying to us, even now in 2017, the choice to love, the choice of having peace, the choice of seeing my brother and my sister is more valuable. It can travel through time. It doesn't cease. It won't cease. It can go from generation to generation to generation throughout time. Time won't even stop this kind of effect. It's like an atomic bomb. It'll just explode through the lives of every person that feels it, every person that encounters this kind of love. This is what it can happen. And this is what can happen. And this is how we all can be affected in a positive, in a more united way. So as we have this opportunity to reflect on Martin Luther King Jr., not just on the things that happened to him, and yes, there are terrible things that happened to him, but look at what he's really saying is love conquers all. Peace is possible even in the midst of heartache, injustice, in anything, and that we can come together and we could be unified. So to me, that's what he's telling us. Come together, love, live a life of peace, be unified with one another, and see that it's in the heart, because that's where it changes. That's where everything starts. Everything cultivates is in our hearts. So as we enjoy this Monday morning, and as a lot of us are in memorying Martin Luther King Jr., let's remember that he wants these things in our hearts, and let us go forward from this Monday morning and live out his legacy. Thank you for tuning in to Overcoming Life. I'm your host, Opal Bailey. God bless.